Copyright Assure, our project for 5720, presented by Cody Burris, Shauna Dykes, Cassandra Clark, Stephanie Bailey, Emily Arbesu, and Elizabeth Basimakopoulos. Why is copyright so important for you to understand? Well, as you go through your school career and even your work career, you need to give credit where credit is due. So anytime you may copy in whole or partially somebody else's work, whether it be in a paper, a Powtoon, or a video that you are creating, you need to give the creator, producer, or distributor of that original work credit. Without copyright laws, writers, artists, or producers wouldn't receive the just compensation they deserve for their creations. Ultimately, the flow of the creative work that they give us and inspire us with kind of gets trimmed down quite a bit, and we don't benefit from the great things that are out there. So you may be asking yourself, what is copyright? Well, copyright gives the creator of a work ownership of that work and the power to decide how to use it. The types of works that are covered by copyright include literary work, musical work, artwork, choreographical work such as dance, architectural works, visual works including motion pictures, otherwise known as movies, sound recordings, video games, and computer software. So why should you care about copyright? Well, copyright protects the author's work from being used without their permission. This lets the creator decide how they would like their work used. Ultimately, this protects your work. So if you create something, no one else can use it for their own profit without your permission. The other reason why you should adhere to copyright is because it's the law. If you decide to ignore copyright, you are breaking that law. It's equivalent to stealing, and the owner can bring on a lawsuit. What cannot be copyrighted? Well, your ideas, words, or facts cannot be copyrighted. Creative Commons license is used by creators sometimes in order to allow people to make copies of their works or do other things that are normally covered by copyright law. Creative Commons offers free licenses that let the creator decide how they want to share it. The most common restriction on these works are attribution, non-commercial use, share alike, and no derivatives. Let's take a look at each one of these. Attribution. You can use works with this symbol, but you must give credit to the creator and note any changes you have made. Non-commercial use refers to not being able to make money off of something that is created. Share alike. In these types of works, with this symbol, you may share the work that you use. No derivatives. You can use works with this symbol, but you may not alter them. Here are some copyright guidelines for drawings, photos, illustrations, and pictures. What exactly can you do? Well, single drawings or photos can be used, but no more than 5 works by a single artist are allowed. From a collection or album, no more than 15 images or 10% of the images can be used, whichever is less. Remember, some drawings are so old they are free to use because they are public domain, so you don't need permission to use these. but sometimes they can be part of a copyrighted work, so you need permission to use them. Better safe than sorry, and make sure to cite it. Copyright laws apply to printed materials. Printed materials include poems, articles, stories, essays, books, periodicals, and children's books or other illustrated work. You can use 250 word or less poems or excerpts of 250 words if the poem is greater than 250 words, articles, stories, or essays that are less than 2,500 words. You may also use excerpts from longer works as long as only 10% of the work or 1,000 words of it are used. Make sure to use the least amount possible. One chart, picture, diagram, or cartoon per book or per periodical issue, and then 2 pages max from an illustrated work less than 2,500 words. An example of this would be a children's book. So what can you do with printed material? Well, you may incorporate text into your multimedia projects. Teachers may make multiple copies for classroom use or incorporate them into their multimedia for teaching classes. Remember, copies may be made only from legally acquired originals. Only 1 copy will be allowed per student. Teachers may make copies in 9 instances per class per term. Usage must be at the instance and inspiration of a single teacher, i.e., not a directive from the district. Consumables, such as workbooks, may not be copied. Copyright laws apply to the Internet as well. By Internet, we are talking about Internet connections and the World Wide Web. Here's what you can do with the Internet. Images can be downloaded for you, the student, to use in a project and for the teacher in his or her lessons. Sound files and videos can be used in multimedia projects. Remember that if you are using anything from a web page, you must get permission to repost it somewhere else. Any resources used must all come from the web page that you are citing. Video copyright for integration into multimedia or video projects is as follows. If you are looking at videotapes, DVDs, multimedia encyclopedias, QuickTime movies, or video clips from the Internet, you may use up to 3 minutes or 10% of the presentation length, whichever is less in a multimedia presentation. Remember that you must obtain the video legally and you must cite your source. Copyright for music includes anything that is recorded, a cassette, a CD, or audio clips that are on the web. With music, you are allowed to use 10% of a copyrighted composition that is reproduced or performed or even displayed. Remember that when you're using music in your multimedia project, that you can only use 30 seconds or less. In addition, your music has to have an educational purpose in your project. The following references are available. Some tips on how to cite your sources. For a book, you want to use the author's last name, first and middle initial, the year the book was published, the city, state, and publisher. For an article, the last name of your author, first and middle initial, the year published, the article title, the journal name, and the volume or issue. include the page numbers. For a website, the last name of the author, followed by their first and middle initial, the year, month, date published, the article title, and that it was retrieved from a specific URL.